Back to Be Unexpected. Things have changed for the better. Just like in sports, when your game plan changes for the better to help your team win the game, our game plan has changed where it's not going to be just me doing this podcast. Now I'm going to do it with my buddy Jake Burnside here, and we're going to do the podcast together. So, Jake, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thanks, Wyatt. Yeah, no, I'm excited to do this together and share our stories and how sports have impacted our life. But in the full circle of things, interview others and how sports have impacted them and how they've had setbacks and how they've gotten through those setbacks and just get to know their story more. It's so much fun getting to know people's story and just relating to them more and more. Yeah, so I'm just excited to see what's in store for this and if people would get interviewed. But I think today we're just gonna interview each other, get to know each other, and share our stories a little with you guys. So
Yeah. So, like Jake said, there's something about our story, but we'll mention at the end of the podcast how you can contact us. But right now, Jake, let's get to the questions.
yeah, well, first, how about some of the how we kind of
Okay,
connected
yeah.
growing up? Maybe you want to share a little about that?
Yeah. So Jake and I we went to high school together, and he was one grade behind me, and we always hung out together, played basketball, and played some baseball together.
Little,
Yeah,
yeah,
a little bit. We played like 1 year on some random little league team,
yeah,
and then mostly basketball and football. I was the manager of the football team. Jake was the quarterback. And then basketball, we played on a summer team 1 year, I think, together. And
yeah.
then yeah, just kind of knowing each other through sports. Our families were friends,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's how Jake and I have become good friends. And we kind of we'll share a lot more in the story, but we became really good friends like kind of like after high school, like
Mhm.
my freshman year of college, your senior year of high school. We became really close friends, and just kind of grew our friendship from there and our love of sports.
Yeah,
So
yeah. After we graduated high school, we got closer together. And just a lot of our, obviously, we didn't, I don't know what you were going through. You didn't fully know what I was going through, but we could share some of the struggles we were going with. And we'll get in more into that as we go. But yeah, just how both of our stories kind of came together. And that's kind of how we grew closer together.
yeah, so it's really cool how
Mhm.
we became, kind of like friends you talk to at school or hang out with a group, but now like
Mhm.
we're best of friends. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So we're just gonna go do some Q&A with each other, just share a little bit about sports or story, kind of what gets us going in the mornings, some cool, fun events we've done growing up. So first question is for you, Wyatt, is what is your very first memory, whether that's at recess, very first sports memory, so like recess with your twin brother Wes, your dad, or first thing that you remember?
I remember like playing catch in the yard with a baseball. It'd be like my dad, my brother, and I, and my sister Jess would play too, and we had these like Velcro baseball gloves, and you're supposed to be able to catch it, but because I have
Uh,
cerebral palsy, I couldn't catch it, and my hand-eye coordination was terrible. So my dad was just trying to teach me how to catch the ball. One time he tried to use a tennis ball instead of like a rubber kid's baseball, and that didn't work either. Got hit in the face several times, and it was just kind of funny playing catch. And my brother could catch it easily, and then I just like could not like I don't know like I couldn't connect my brain to my hand. Like, oh, it's Velcro, just catch it.
yeah.
Like squeeze your hand, but yeah, those are like some of the first memories, and just playing like YMCA baseball and
Hmm.
going to sporting events. So
So was it one of those like gloves so you just gotta put it
yeah,
there?
you
So
just
just
like
like, hey, I just gotta get it
yeah,
here.
I just gotta
Just
put it
put your
here,
hand here,
put it
Wyatt.
here. Like it's gonna fall right there into your hand. I remember even playing like catch with my grandma, and she would like toss it in the underhand, and I'd try to catch it,
Yeah,
and I just like couldn't do it.
yeah,
And then I finally got it because it was Velcro.
yeah,
I think we got those gloves when I was like 3. I probably couldn't learn how to catch till I was like 4,
yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
I'm sure that was frustrating as being that 3, 4 year old and just seeing it, not
Yeah,
catching it, falling every time.
yeah. I
So
mean, I could throw it, which was good. My
yeah,
dad said like, "Oh, you still had fun because you were like 3 or 4." But
yeah,
eventually, like, you move up to the regular baseball gloves, and I would still have trouble catching it. Wes and I, we'd play catch, and he'd like be like, "Why can't you catch the ball?" I was like, "I am catching." I was
Yeah.
like, "Not every time. Come on." And
Yeah.
so he just pushed me to do that. And
Mhm.
one time, like on vacation visiting my aunt, I like caught the ball like consistently.
Mhm.
Finally, I
Yeah.
was probably like 7,
Mm.
and like I could actually do it. So that's kind
Yeah.
of like my first memory, just playing catch in the
Yeah.
yard with my dad.
Yeah.
What about you?
Um, my first sports memory is, gosh, I think probably at recess. So I remember when growing up at recess at Howard Elementary. Shout out Howard. We would just like play football at recess, and we ended
Hmm.
up getting taken away. So like some of my friends like Corby, Hunter, and those guys, we would play football at recess and get it taken away because we played tackle. So I remember that, and then going into like JC football, playing with
Man,
like on the Packers and the Steelers. I remember that, and then my dad coaching. So yeah, I say my first sports memory are those, but one vividly I remember is playing YMCA basketball, and friend Jackson was on the team, and he had this crazy shot. I think he like threw it behind his head and like hit the top of the hoop, and then it bounced in, and um, they couldn't call it the Jackson shot. And
oh, that's
so
cool.
everyone just kind of like jumped around celebrating. And it was just like the little thing, but it's one of the first things I remember for that.
Nice.
Yeah,
And YMCA basketball is always the most fun. Like,
yeah,
I think my one stat one year, I got a rebound, but it was because I got hit in the face and I just caught it, kind of, and it's just like that was it. Like that was my
yeah,
only stat. But
yeah.
um,
YMCA was fun because it would lower the hoops, and now like you go to the Y now, it's like I hope the hoops are lower so you can go dunk it. But I remember them always cranking lower the hoops so you could somehow willpower it up in there and make it.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah. All right. Second one, Wyatt. What's your favorite sport growing up? You
oh,
enjoyed playing or I guess watching?
probably football because Nebraska football, my favorite sport, and just like my dad was
Mhm.
watching basketball, and I just like love like obviously the quarterback, and
Mhm.
he'd always touch the ball. But then like when I started playing sports, my dad was like, "No, you're not gonna play football
Mhm.
because you're gonna get killed." Like
Mhm.
he's like, "You can literally get killed because like look at you, you small, 2 times smaller."
Yeah.
And so I would play football with my friends maybe, but no one would really
Mhm.
like try to actually stop me.
Yeah.
So like around 8 years old, um, my mom was like, "You should go outside and shoot hoops," because I was watching TV all
Mm.
afternoon. So I went outside and I shot like she's like make 10 free throws, and my free throw wasn't a free throw. It was like I just like walked right up to the hoop and took
Mm.
2 hands and tried to push it up there, and I tried to make 10 shots. I think it took me like an hour, and
What?
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I tried to make 10 shots, and um, I don't know, I just fell in love with basketball at
Mhm.
8 years old, and I think I always liked basketball the most, but it was kind of like whatever season it was, that was my favorite sport. So
Mhm.
football season, football was my favorite. Then basketball was my favorite in the winter, and then spring and summer
Yeah.
baseball. But
First season.
but
Yeah.
definitely like I knew that basketball was kind of like the one I could be the best at
Mhm.
because you weren't getting hit in football or like football, you weren't gonna
Mhm.
get hit in basketball, and then baseball, the ball was really
Mhm.
small and I couldn't
Yeah.
see it. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say definitely right away it was football.
Okay.
So as when I was playing JC football and tackle football, I was
Mhm.
always bigger than everyone, and I remember being like 1 pound under the weight limit to carry the ball, so I could carry it, and I was just bigger than everyone, so I could run everyone over, which is fun, and also because I would love Husker football, and Husker football at that time was, it's pretty good. It was right after like Eric Crouch, and I
Yeah.
remember like Jamal Lord, Zach Taylor, like is it Corey Ross, the running back?
Yeah.
Anyway, but I love watching all those and seeing those games. And then as I got into high school, I just probably went more into basketball. I love basketball and football
Hmm.
more, but I would say originally the first sport I fell in love with was probably football. Yeah. But I would agree per season, like, okay, I was football, basketball, and then spring it's like, whatever we're doing.
Because you
So
weren't too into baseball, right?
no, yeah, we just did with Parks and Rec, so just kind of
Yeah.
like summer fun.
Yeah. I played with your
We
friends.
yeah,
More like I was kind of like baseball was like a
yeah,
big thing to us, but yeah.
yeah. All right. Next one, Wyatt. Who right now, other than your family members, is making or who has made the biggest impact on your life?
Outside of my family, probably my Special Olympic basketball and football coach, Corey Piercy. He was a big influence on my life. Around like middle school, I was sitting on the bench.
Hmm.
Couldn't play with Wes and our friends, and I like didn't think I'd ever be able to play on the team again.
Hmm.
Well, then my parents found out about Special Olympics, which is like a league for people with physical and intellectual disabilities, and mine was physical, and so I'd go play, by myself at the Y, and maybe in a pickup game with Wes, we'd find some guys to play 2-on-2 against. But really, I didn't have a team I could actually say I played on. I just
Hmm.
played pickup. But then when I joined Special Olympics, the Fremont Special Olympic team, it was like probably one of the best things that ever happened in my life because there was a team that like needed me and wanted me to like play for their team. I remember a couple times like Corey would say like, "Yeah, you did a good job. This team really needs you." Whether it was like basketball or flag football, or I did track my second year, and he just really had a big impact on my life and taught me how to be a leader, lead by example, by just going out and doing your job on the playing field, or lead verbally by like
Hmm.
trying to get your teammates going and inspire your
Yeah.
teammates. So he has had a big impact on my life, along with all the other like Leonard Hall and Dylan, and those were the assistant coaches, and just all the coaches that impacted my life
Hmm.
are mostly through Special Olympics. And I would say also like my childhood baseball coach, Kyle Weeger, had a big
Mm.
impact on my life.
Is
And
Corey still your coach, like right now for
yeah,
Special
he's
Olympics stuff?
still coaching. He's been coaching for
Wow.
like years. Like,
Dang.
yeah, he's a great guy. And, you know, it's like you talk about like not doing it for the love of the game and
Hmm.
just to help people. Like, that truly is what he does. Like, he does it because he wants to. He wants to help athletes like me that have disabilities, like show off our athletic abilities.
Hmm.
Because not a lot of people would think like, oh, someone with disability, how good athlete really are they? But well, they are. Like we've got some really good athletes out there, and
Yeah, there is.
Corey, like, he doesn't like baby us and say like, oh, it's okay, you know, it's okay that you didn't drop that pass or you didn't make that shot. He like pushes us. He doesn't yell at us, but it's like, come on, you got to make this shot. This is how you make it, and teaches us the fundamentals. And it's not like just we go out there to have fun, but we want to win too. Like it's got like that sense of like, yeah, like a rec league, but also like kind of like a high school team. Like we want to win state in football and basketball and be the best special program we can be in
Yeah.
state. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say he had a big impact on my life. So,
Yeah. Sounds
yeah,
like Corey really, really pushes you guys, but
yeah,
obviously
like,
loves you guys too, and
uh,
all of you guys sounds like he's
yeah,
love you.
from like sophomore year to I would say Weston's junior year of college, we always won state basketball. Whatever team I was
Dang.
on, we were always winning state basketball, and is because like we may not have the most athletic guys on the team, but we were really fundamentally
Hmm.
sound, and it was because of Corey and Dylan and Leonard just pushing us to work on our fundamentals and
Hmm.
do drills that we all thought were kind of boring because we just wanted to scrimmage, but it helped us in games. And I think Corey and just the whole coaching staff is the reason why we did so well through that 7 year span and now. So.
Yeah. Dang.
So, Jake, who was impact on your life
Mm.
besides your family through sports or just life?
Yeah. I would say, like I was we were talking before, I was like different seasons. So, growing up, I just remember my other like JC football coaches. So like Mark Voss, like Todd Hansen, with football, and then going into high school as we'll get more of both of our stories as we go on. But after what happened with the car accident, I would say my friends we just all kind of like the basketball team just rallied on. Like I remember senior year of basketball, didn't win a whole lot of games, but when we did, it was always like it's tight knit community.
Mm-hmm.
From like Hunter, Dredge, Corby, like Ryan, all those guys. We just were a tight knit group, and so that's really they really helped me in that point of my life. And then going out of that into college, I was able to be the student manager for the Nebraska Omaha men's basketball team, which is really cool. and I got the opportunity through Coach Irwin, one of the assistant coaches at the time, and I really grew close to him and the players, for example, like Mitch, Han was really fun. So being part of that team really helped me spiral out of things during that season. And now I would say it's my beautiful wife Abby who just has made a huge impact on my life now, and her love for Christ and her just love for me and love for people. And so yeah, so I would say different seasons of
Yeah,
life, it's a different person, which I'm sure we all could relate to that.
yeah. There's
So
always people that come into your life and you never expect, and it's like for the best. Like,
yeah,
you know, that's
yeah,
awesome. You have all
yeah,
those people.
yeah. So as we've talked about our challenges here, what's one thing right now that's like you say mentally or physically is like the hardest thing to do?
So for me, I developed this condition. Actually, it was like in 2018, where like the opening to like like the opening to your stomach, where
Hmm.
like you eat food and then the food goes down, and then your the opening to your stomach where food can go down to, like mine would like shut, and so like I would have trouble eating like
Hmm.
a peanut butter or jelly sandwich, which I would chew. I couldn't chew much anymore. I would kind of like choke on it a little bit, or always have to drink water. And it was taking me like it's taking me long to eat food before, like probably like 30 minutes or something like that. But now it's taking me extra longer because usually I chew on one side, my left side, and now it's taking me like an hour and a half just to eat a meal.
Hmm.
And one time, like my stomach like completely shut down. I couldn't drink water, couldn't eat any
Hmm.
food. I lost 10 pounds in like 2 days. It was
Wow.
yeah, it took me like 10 months to gain back those ten
Yeah.
pounds. And what was happening was, long story short, my when I was born, my esophagus wasn't attached to my stomach, so they created like this wrap that connected my stomach and my esophagus. And so I guess the wrap it only lasts like 25 years, which I actually broke it when I was 2 because I coughed so hard, so I had to like redo the surgery to make the wrap to connect the esophagus and the stomach.
Wow.
Yeah, and so uh, my one of the surgeon told me like, yeah, it only lasts like 25 years. So like now I'm 27, so it'd be like 25 years now. But that's the thing they don't know.
Hmm.
Like
You
it
just
could crap out now. It could be 15, 10 years.
yeah.
But so like now I can eat okay, but I do these procedures, not surgeries, procedures, because it's only like 15 minutes.
Yeah. It's shorter.
Yeah. And so they go in and they open my stomach area and to make it wider so I can get food down and everything's okay. So instead of like doing that, I would always do that as a kid, like once a year. And now it was 6 months, then it was 3 months, now it's every 2 months. Luckily, I lasted like 3 months this time, so it's just you never know. You never know what's gonna happen. And then like the pandemic happened. I was having
Hmm.
troubles with it again because I could be doing great and then terrible and then great again. It's
It's
weird.
so up and
Yeah, it's so like you don't know.
down.
And so that's kind of been like my thing is like trying to deal with that. I already had like a weight gain problem, so now it's like, well, at least I'm not losing any weight. I gained all the 10 pounds back after
Yeah.
like a year, but I'm not gaining either. So
Yeah.
I'd say that's like my medical thing I'm dealing with,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's nothing I can control of it. Like it is what it is. Like, I didn't cause it. Just like kind
Yeah.
of like what's happening. I even asked my doctor one time. I was like, "Is it like fixable or not?" He's like, "It's kind of like a car that's like broken down, just like kind of breaking down." And I
Mm.
was like, "Oh, well, okay, that's great."
Yeah.
But I eat healthy. Like he said, if like you would eat like real crappy food all the time, you could definitely like I don't know, like you could like ruin the insides where I need like someday I might need a new esophagus. Or no, I wouldn't get a new esophagus. I
Hmm.
wish I would get one, but
Yeah.
they would take my esophagus out. And
Wow.
so yeah, it was crazy.
That wouldn't be just a little procedure. Holy
Dude,
cow, that'd be
that'd be
major
huge.
surgery.
And
Yeah.
there's another one before that that's small. I think they like take the wrap down or whatever, but
Yeah.
um yeah, just like it could happen. Like I'm not saying it would happen. Maybe it'll never happen. But
Hmm.
it's just like what I learned in sports is like some things are out of your control,
Hmm.
and so that's just out of my control.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Is that those doctors you see, are those in Omaha? And don't you go to Minnesota for some of that too?
yeah.
Or
So I'll go to like the Mayo Clinic sometimes in Minnesota, and I think it's Rochester, Minnesota.
I think
I think
you're right.
so.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
I could be wrong. You can look it up.
Minnesota.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll go there, but like I've only gone there like once to do it
Hmm.
because it's like if you don't need it, then don't come because
Yeah.
it's like I was scheduled to do one at the beginning of August, but I was doing okay. So I was like, well, I don't need it. And it's hard to get in because you only have so many patients. And it's like the best place to go.
Hmm.
And so then, like 2 weeks later, I needed it and I did it here, which is fine. But it's like I do different ones. It's complicated. I do different ones in Nebraska than I do in Minnesota.
Okay.
They work differently, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like another one of those things. Like if I can go to Minnesota and do it, great.
Mhm.
If I need to stay and wait to do it in Omaha, great. As long as
Yeah.
I can get it done,
Yeah.
it's like.
Just get it done.
But I'd say sports has helped me through it because like one just laying around all the time, like I wouldn't eat for like a couple of days or until I could do the scope, and so it's like I tried working out before and I got like lightheaded and stuff,
Mm.
and
It
so it's now I
impacted
just
you.
like I'll just lay around and wait, and I'll
Yeah.
drink. I've never had that happen again where it like closed up on me
Oh yeah.
completely. Like
Yeah.
that's never happened. So
Ugh.
since like 2018, but it's like, well, I probably shouldn't work out because I'm not really eating much.
Hmm.
So I'll watch sports or I'll watch like I follow these YouTube channels and watch like film on tennis or
Yeah.
football or basketball and
Yeah.
kind of train mentally.
Yeah.
And so I would say
That's.
that's my biggest thing right now. And I guess just dealing with cerebral palsy, the stuff you deal with, like cerebral palsy pain, like
Hmm.
my legs hurt all the time from standing or running, but it's like I kind of like it too because it teaches you how to fight through fatigue.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, I'm always hurting. Like my parents are like, "Are you hurting?" I was like, "Yeah, I am. I'm always hurting. I
Duh.
have cerebral palsy."
What do you
What do
mean,
you
Mom?
think?
I'm always in pain.
Yeah, it's like I got like a spine that doesn't bend all the way because I got 27 screws in it and three
Yeah.
rods and
Yeah.
just like I don't know, you just kind of
Uh,
learn to deal with it. So and like
yeah. I
yeah,
think one thing I've really just learned from you is how like we were just talking before this, like you could literally sit in what you like what you're going through, or like you could persevere and put yourself to test, put your body to test. Like even you have these pains, like you still the way you treat, the way you're acting, the way you work hard is still like crazy. So the way you do it, man, is pretty impressive.
thanks, man.
Yeah. So
So Jake, what about what's one thing you're going through right now?
yeah, I would say the hardest thing I would say probably is like with the car accident, I had a traumatic brain injury.
Hmm.
And so my memory is not the best. And so I'm not as sharp as I'd want to be. So school right after that was a struggle, and I mean, not right after, it was a struggle before. I
Yeah.
wasn't very smart before.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, I would say ever since back in 2013 and 14 when I was back in school, like it was a struggle then, and with memory, like short-term things, asking many questions over and over.
Right.
So yeah, and just and being okay with asking again. Um, and people have been really good about that. And I just find myself asking my wife Abby questions multiple times, and I just kind of try to laugh it off, but then you're like, okay, this is why, this is why. So I'd say definitely
Mhm.
everything that comes with a brain injury, that's kind of affected me. But for the most part, I'm doing pretty well in that
Nice.
sense.
It's good.
So yeah. Okay. Next one. Going through adversity, what is one lesson that sports has taught you? Like you just kind of shared about persevering, but anything else that what sports has kind of taught you?
It's kind of like don't set a time limit for like, I got to be here at this time of my life, or I need to be here, and I need to win this tournament to, be good at this time, and I'm never gonna be good. Like, if you really want something, there is no time limit. You'll work at it and work at it
Hmm.
until you get it.
Yeah.
Like, I played this tournament called the Experience, a tennis tournament, and it's the top 32 special Olympic tennis players in the U.S. And I've gone to it like 5 years in a row. And my first 3 years, I went like 2-10, and it was very frustrating because it's like, man, do I even deserve to be here? Like the third year, I was like, oh, the saying, third time's a charm,
Hmm.
and it's like this year I'm gonna be in the winners bracket in my division, and I'm gonna win. And I only won like one match and lost like in two or three tiebreakers again. that's the thing too. Is I was losing in tiebreakers all the time,
Mhm.
and so that was really frustrating. But like by the fourth, and this last year, the fifth year, I won. I went like 3-2 both years,
Nice.
made it to the finals. But
Yeah.
now I got to get over another hump, and that is actually winning in
Winning
the
it.
finals.
Yeah.
So it's just like don't set a time limit on
Mhm.
what you want to happen in your life because life happens.
Mhm.
Like we just shared, like the stuff that happened to us, my medical conditions, your car accident, like we didn't expect any of that to
Mhm.
happen. It just like it set us way back.
Mhm.
But it's like we just kept going, and you got to keep going if you love the sport, if you
Mhm.
love to play. So
Mhm.
that's what I kind of learned, especially through like
Yeah.
just sports. So
Yeah. And on like behalf, I would say you did, like how you responded. Like can't a lot of things you can't control. Like you didn't want to be born like you were born with this, so you can control that. So like it was like what could you control? And that's kind of one thing that I was sure even when I broke my femur, like that happened that really affected how like my athletic ability. But I would say it definitely I let it affect like my full circle, so it affected my attitude, like my
mm,
mentality on things, and it was difficult seeing me sit on the sideline in crutches and a wheelchair
yeah,
and try to laugh it off at times when that's like oh he's in a wheelchair rolling around, but and then seeing my other friends, and I'm sure this is for you, struggle seeing your friends really excel in
yeah,
sports on the varsity stage was very difficult. And so I would say just like what I can't control that, I can only control how I respond to that. And it's gone into more of like now real life situations. Like I can't control how this situation turns out, like for
right,
work or how this person treats me, but I can control like what I can control.
yeah.
And so I know that's kind of like a verbatim, like that's what you hear on like sports, but it really
It's
is
true.
true.
I mean that's what
Yeah,
I'll tell the great ones do it, man.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
you want to be really good at something. Sometimes it's the stuff you hear over and
yeah,
over that
yeah.
help.
Coach K, yeah.
Yeah, just like so, like when you broke your femur in football, is that kind of when you switched to like basketball being your favorite sport? Because did before you broke your femur, going into high school, did you think about playing college football or basketball at all?
Yeah, so I would definitely say so once I broke my femur, that was my sophomore year, I wasn't gonna be able to play football again. So
Right.
I think that's when it kind of flips to from football to basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely for anyone who's like broken a bone, especially a lower body, it really affects your ability and your athletic ability. So coming back from that was really hard. So I wasn't the same football or basketball, but I had more of a focus on basketball because
Mm-hmm.
I had more of a chance, and that's really the only sport I could play.
Right.
So I tried to put more of a focus on that,
Mm-hmm.
invest more time in that, invest more time in the teammates, and so yeah, I would say it kind of switched from football to basketball at that point.
Then you did
So
track and field, right?
yeah, I did track my freshman year,
Okay.
and then I did only high jump, and I broke my left leg,
Oh.
which you jump off your left. I
Oh
jumped off my
yeah.
left leg, and so like
Oh.
couldn't jump,
Now that's a
so
bummer.
kind of put a on that
Yeah.
one. So yeah, why? What is I guess like in the morning, like when you get up, or like when you're going throughout the day, like what is one thing that keeps you going, or because like there's I'm sure there's more to it than just like, oh, I want to excel in sports. Like so like in your mindset, like what is one thing that kind of keeps you going?
So
Or
like, let's say music is a big part. Like, gets me going in the morning. Like, I like to listen to like a lot of music. I'll
Mhm.
listen to music for hours. And just kind of like whether it's like just like to wake up during the day, or like go through like a heart medical thing I'm going through, or just sports, get ready for sports. Like, just kind of like inspires me or motivates me to like want to do good and gets me pumped up.
Mhm.
But then also I think like of the stuff I've been through, it's like, oh, people are counting you out, and maybe nobody's counting me out, but like I'll make up stuff in my head, like, oh, I bet you so and so doesn't think I can do it. Like I'll use my brother all the
True,
time,
yeah.
my twin brother Wes and I were pretty blunt with each other,
Mhm.
and I'll like make up stories in my head like, oh, I bet you Wes doesn't think I can score this many
Yeah.
points or get this many assists in
Yeah.
basketball or do well in football or something like that, and I'll be like, I'll show him,
Yeah.
and he might have never said that, but I just make it up in my
Mhm.
mind and just kind of like trying to prove people wrong every day because like having cerebral palsy, you get these looks or the way sometimes people talk to you like you don't really know anything or like you can't really do stuff. Like, it's okay that you're not, living on your own. Like, I live with my
Mhm.
parents because of the medical conditions, or like, it's okay that you're just a good athlete. You're not a
Mhm.
great athlete or something like that. And it's like, nah, it's not okay. I'm not going to accept that. No, I know like it might take me a lot longer,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna prove people wrong, whether it's outside world that no one really knows me, or something somebody said, or just my immediate family.
Mhm.
Like, I gotta prove that I can move out and live on my own. I gotta prove that like I can do more. uh, just because I have CP doesn't mean I can't do more.
Mhm.
And so just kind of like proving every day, like it doesn't matter if you have a disability or not. It's like you can either find ways to do
Mhm.
something or you choose not to do it at all.
Yeah.
Now there is stuff like I can't do because like
Mhm.
I have cerebral palsy, but it's like doesn't mean I can't do anything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I feel like cerebral palsy put like that chip on my shoulder every day to like whether someone really did doubt me or say something to me like, oh, you can't do it, or I just make up something in my head to like motivate me. Like that's what pushes me is like I'm trying to like show that just anybody can do anything. I'm trying to beat my cerebral palsy, not let it win by like just sitting at home and doing nothing because
Yeah.
I'm like maybe sore. I
Yeah.
just got to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
But
Would you say getting up like so your body pains and like with your hands or your spinal cord like you want to lay in bed, you want to stay at home, but would you say getting out and just going out and moving around and running, hitting tennis balls, shooting hoops, throwing the football, does that help? Like
yeah,
just being more active? Because you could just be laying in your bed.
yeah, like it definitely helps because like especially now my back surgery. So long story short, had scoliosis and they which is curving your spine, and they pulled my spine back up. And now it's like the top of my spine doesn't bend anymore. So like I would have back pain. But if I like am sick and I'm laying around for let's say three days or more, then like my back hurts because I'm not doing anything and I'm tight. My legs are always tight and like that moving around just like loosens my whole
Hmm.
body up.
Yeah.
Like there'd be days like I wouldn't want to go work out, and I would just like, oh, just go stand around and shoot hoops because you're tight and you're sore, and it'll loosen you up. But then there are days where like I would push myself so hard, like too hard, that I would get sick. I would kind of cause it, and because my body was so run down. So
Yeah.
I'm better at taking like rest days, like maybe like one day I'll work out for like 3 hours or a little more, and then the next day I'll work out for an hour or two, or and then the next day I'll take a rest instead of like working out really hard for 5 days in a row like I
Hmm.
used to do in high school, and then get sick on the sixth day
Yeah.
and be out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's all about like my brother taught me a lot about like recovery. You
Hmm.
gotta recover. Like you don't recover, and that's really bad because you have cerebral palsy, and so
Hmm.
I think like recovery is important. So I've learned like I can go hard for these 2 days. I may not practice as much, like as many days throughout the week, but I still practice at the same intensity.
Hmm.
And I one time, as I think it was like eighth or ninth grade, I was like, look, I can either sit around and like eat a lot and not do anything,
Hmm.
and I can gain weight because I realized like one time I like gained a couple pounds by not like doing anything,
Wow.
or I can like be tight all the time and sit
Hmm.
around. And it's like, I'd rather loosen up
Yeah.
and I'll just be really skinny for the rest of my life. And
Hmm.
so I was like, I'd rather be loose because
Yeah.
the tightness, like, um, there have been times, like, especially like as a really little kid, I wouldn't stretch and I was so tight I couldn't run.
Hmm.
Like, that was from the CP. And
Yeah.
so just like that movement, I think it's good for anybody. Like, just work out for like
Hmm.
30, 40 minutes a day, even.
Hmm.
And you don't have to do the crazy, insane stuff that I do for like
Yeah.
hours. But
Go on a walk.
yeah,
Mm.
go on a walk, anything. Like
Yeah.
loosens your back.
Move.
Move
Yeah.
around. Like I bet you did you experience that with like some of your injuries? Like if you sat around, did you feel worse?
Yeah, you could just I don't know, lay in bed is obviously the easy option, but then you get tight and loosen up, and especially with spinal cord injuries and like lower body, you gotta get up, move around, and do your physical therapy or whatnot. So yes, getting up and moving around out of the hospital bed was sucked in the moment, but
Uh,
it's yeah, very very beneficial.
oh yeah,
So
definitely. Right.
let's see. So we'll finish up with one more question here. So the best sports memory you've experienced or like you've been at. So whether you're playing or you're at a sporting event, can't be watching on TV
Okay.
because we could all just
Yeah, we can all do that.
it's like Super Bowl, the Auburn kick or
Yeah.
Husker memories. It's not much, but
Not right now.
so the one you were at or you played it?
So I did both. I'd say the 2020 NBA All Star Game. So in 2020, I got to play in the Special Olympic NBA Cares All Star Game, and I played with Hall of Famer Tony Kukoc, legend like Horace Grant. We played with Michael Jordan and Muggsy Bogues, who's like the shortest player ever to play in the NBA, which I loved because he was my height. Muggsy
Yeah.
Bogues was like my height. I went up to him and I was like, dude, I'm gonna guard you because we're the same height.
Hmm.
It was cool that he played in the NBA and I scored a basket, which I was happy about because I just wanted to score like
Yeah.
one basket, and
Eagle
then
boy.
yeah, and then like I got tripped by Muggsy Bogues. I got like I was
Claim to
going,
fame.
yeah, I
Yeah.
had like a scar on my right knee, and like what happened was my right leg drags. So when I did like the spin move, my right leg, he tried to reach for the ball, and so his foot, I tripped over his foot, and I like scab cut open or whatever, and then like I had a scar on my knee for like the month. So
Hmm.
I like, yeah, I got through my Muggsy Bogues. Here's my scar, and it was just a really cool moment. And then like we got to watch the All Star game. Like I went with my twin brother Wes. We were like behind one of the baskets. We were like fifth row, and we got to see like LeBron James go up against Joel Embiid, and I couldn't believe how strong these guys were.
Yeah.
Like Joel Embiid was like he was backing LeBron down, and he was playing defense on LeBron. He wouldn't let him go anywhere at one point, and it was like at first the game was like, oh, it's gonna be a highlight show. They're just throwing alley oops. Nobody's playing defense. But then like the fourth quarter was like playing like street ball, like first one to this amount of points, and the guys were going so hard,
Mhm.
and it was awesome. Like Wes and I were like freaking out, like this is so cool. The game was close, and I mean it was like the perfect combination. I got to play on Friday in my game. Then I gotta watch like the skills competition on
Yeah.
Saturday and the dunk competition, and then you gotta watch the All Star game on Sunday. So it's just like watching and playing live, and it was just a great experience. So
Dang. Yeah, you gotta take in that whole weekend, right? You gotta
yeah,
do that and then the events. Did you get to go to the All-Star game?
yeah. So
All
like
that?
yeah, we went to the All Star game to watch LeBron and beating all them, and then like we met a couple guys. Like I met Tim Hardaway. I met like over like Skype. We met Damian Lillard,
Mm.
which was cool. He wasn't there because he was injured, so that was
That's
kind of
right.
we would have met him in person if
Yeah.
he wouldn't have been injured. And then yeah, just a lot of cool things. Like I mean, I bought like a Michael Jordan All Star jersey there in
Mm.
the hotel, and then
Yeah.
like we got her like one of the cool things, and my brother can probably just describe it more than I can because he like watched our reaction. But we opened this room to like this like ballroom or like dining room, and like our jerseys are out there on the tables, and like well Wes said like our reaction was like priceless. Like
Yeah.
it was like that moment of all the hard work you did, like shooting baskets by yourself
Yeah.
and all of us not being included
Yeah.
in sports. Like this is our moment, so
Yeah.
that was cool.
Dude,
So I definitely
big
say
part of that.
that's my number one.
Yeah. Dang, man, that would be cool just to see like everything that you saw that weekend, and
Yeah.
all the things you experienced, and to see that up close. Not a huge NBA watching unless the playoffs, but to experience all that,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
it was pretty
That's really
cool.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
what about you, Jake? What's your best sport event that you went to live?
So in 2019, I got the opportunity to work with the Chiefs in the event operations department.
Mhm.
And one of our jobs was to set up the conference room for like a staff meeting in the middle of the week. And we went up to clean up the conference room and to set it up. And I went up there by myself and to put some like papers and pens down.
Mhm.
And Sammy Watkins and Robinson, is it Demarcus Robinson? Who's
Yeah,
Robinson?
I think is
It
it
was number
Demarcus?
I don't know. Rob is for the Chiefs. So the wide
Yeah,
receiver. I
yeah.
think the last name was Robinson. Anyway, there's two like Chiefs players lounging on the table,
Uh-huh.
and I go, "Hey guys, like I'm sorry, but we gotta." I didn't know how to express. Like I was like, "Hey, just will you move your feet so I can put this pen here?" And they're like, "Yeah, man, that's cool." And they walked away, and I was just like, it was so embarrassing. I was like, "I literally just need to put this paper and pen here. Can you please move your feet?" And it was just like such a big deal. And then later that day, I was leaving work and I walked in the wrong room. It was a conference room and it was like getting close to dinner time.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of the coaching staff were in there, but Andy Reid was in there and he was had a piece. He had like a pulled pork sandwich in his hand, and he was about to take a bite, and then we made eye contact, and I like looked at him, and then I like went out. I was like a wrong door, and so I walked around to the front, and yeah, it was just a cool experience to like say, oh yeah, I was in the same room as Andy Reid, and like
Yeah.
it was just kind of funny, like with Sammy Watkins, like, hey, just please move your feet.
Yeah, it's
So
like they're just normal guys, like
yeah,
really good
but
at football. I mean,
yeah, no, but really move your feet. I
yeah,
gotta put
you know,
this
like
here.
we need like you get so like starstruck. Like
Yeah, it's like I don't know how to respond. So
yeah, like when I was in
yeah.
the NBA thing, I shook Stephen A. Smith's hand,
Mm.
and I watch a show all the time, and just like I was like, oh my gosh, that's Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, oh my gosh. But
yeah.
you went to a couple of Final Fours too, right?
Yeah, I went with my dad to, oh man, and we went in Indianapolis and then Phoenix. So 15 and 17. I
Okay.
don't remember. 17 was it Gonzaga?
It was Gonzaga
No,
and North
North
Carolina.
Carolina. I think
Yeah,
North Carolina won.
yeah, they beat
And then
Gonzaga.
15, gosh, it was me, dad, and Dredge.
It was
Kentucky?
yeah, it was the year Kentucky.
Duke beat
Yeah, Duke,
Kentucky, right?
Wisconsin.
Oh,
No,
Duke.
Wisconsin beat Kentucky.
Yes, and yeah, and then Duke beat Wisconsin, right?
Yeah,
In the
eh,
final.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
it was like Kentucky was undefeated all
Yes, that was the
year.
year that they didn't have like who are some other players? Gosh darn. Uh, yeah, they were undefeated. Anyway,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was like I mean they had like Towns on that team,
Yes, Towns.
Booker,
Hmm.
uh,
Did they have the
the
twin
twins.
brothers?
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know, they're twins.
but Kentucky, Wisconsin had Kaminsky and
I just remember Kaminsky,
yeah, they had a
and
couple
then like
obviously good
Duke
players.
had Okafor and Winslow
Yeah,
and
Winslow. Yeah,
and
Michigan State was there.
yeah, didn't they like made it out of nowhere? Like
Yeah, they
no
were
one
like an eight
expected
or
them.
nine seed or something.
Of course, I
Yeah,
always do good in the tournament,
yeah.
but like, yeah, like that'd be cool. Like I've always wanted to go to the Final
Hmm.
Four. I went to the Elite Eight one time when it was Omaha,
Hmm.
but and that
Yeah,
was probably my next one after the NBA Cares thing. But
yeah,
uh, yeah, I mean, that'd just be cool to say I
yeah.
went to a Final Four. Like,
Just to experience it. The game was we were so high up anyway, but just experiencing the whole thing was really cool.
you took a picture with like some pretty well
Yeah,
known guys. Like,
Jalen Rose,
nice.
Christian Leitner,
Oh,
um,
nice.
Seth Greenberg. It was really cool to meet him.
Did you meet
Uh,
Bobby Knight too, or
I
not?
don't
I
know. I
thought
don't
you
think we
did.
met Bobby Knight.
Okay. Jalen Rose is a pretty nice guy,
Yeah, he
isn't
was
he?
really cool. Out of those, he was really nice. He actually like took a minute to talk to us. I'm sure
Oh, that's
got
cool.
bombarded by everybody, but it was really
Yeah,
cool to do that. So
nice.
yeah. Yeah, well, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. We're gonna try and do this, get something out weekly. We want to interview people, get to know their story and a little more that's impacted them. So, yeah. And also, if you want to tell them about
Yeah.
send out the
So
email.
you can contact us if you got a good story out there that you would like to share on our podcast. Email us at beunexpected100. So beunexpected100 at gmail.com. Again, beunexpected100 at gmail.com. And we'd love to hear your story. Like, we're not just here to talk about us, we're here to talk about you and your great sports stories and how your life has been affected by sports from coaches, players, and fans like us, just crazy fans. And can't wait to hear your guys' story. Thanks for tuning in to
Yep.
Be Unexpected, and we'll see you next time.
Be
See you.
unexpected, baby.
Cool.